So if you found your way to this page, I suspect you are a supervisor looking for supervision, and you probably will have looked at the supervision of coaching. So the big question is, what is the difference? And the jury is probably out on whether there is a difference, although my involvement with the research group where we've been looking at this as a question suggests actually there is a difference, and there is a requirement for supervision on supervision. So you'll be familiar with the seven-eyed model, and I think it's important the idea of a nested system here to explain supervision of supervision. Because if you think of the Russian doll analogy, where we've got the big doll and all the little dolls, then I guess supervision of supervision might be 10 dolls instead of 5. So you've got the really little tiny doll that is the ultimate client, through to the coach, the supervisor, and then the supervisor of the supervisor. But as well as that, you've got all the different interconnecting relationships between each of all those people that are in that system, and all the various stakeholders as well. So multiple layers, and in the same way as the client needs the coach to have a different external view, the coach needs the supervisor to have that helicopter view, and then the supervisor with another supervisor works in collaboration to stand back from all of that and take a really big picture. It's like the old adage, you can't make your own bed while you're lying in it. And that's a pretty good example. So for me, supervision of supervision has got 5 elements to it. The first one is that by definition, it's complex. So you've got multiple stakeholders. There's a lot more sophistication and maturity as part of the content, the process, the interaction between supervisor and supervisor. And the more experienced the supervisor having the supervision, then I think there is more, it's more of a collegiate feel, partnership, power sharing, more experimentation. Yeah, there are still models, techniques, but there's a lot more bringing in of insight, wisdom, life experience, and globally everything that's going on. For me, supervision of supervision, I feel more personally at ease, modeling psychological awareness, and feel a greater equality, I think, when I'm supervising another supervisor. And as Peter Hawkins always likes to say, don't know better and don't know first. At the same time, though, I think if you're a supervisor coming from supervision, yeah, there is that greater sense of ethical responsibility, and together we're holding the space so we do no harm together, and holding that level of risk and protection for everybody in the system. But at the same time, you're the same as everybody else. You still want to feel supported by your supervisor in case the worst that should happen. So I think fourthly, then, it leads to a more complex boundary issues, and more complex contracting issues because of all these different proponents in the system, and all these numerous relationships. There's a lot more grey areas within these boundary issues, and some sort of slippage sometimes with the boundaries issues. And then I think finally there is something here for me about, I think as coaches, what we neglect to look at and what we fail to see as coaches, we often fail to see as supervisors too. So supervision of supervision is very much about checking your blind spots in service to everybody else. But I think in summary, supervision of supervision is still fundamentally about good old normative, formative and restorative aspects, but it's also at greater depth and connects to this: who you are is how you coach, who you are is how you supervise. So who is the you when you are in the supervision room, and how do you bring everything that you are into that supervision space?